And welcome to our watch party, watching Illinois and Northwestern. I'm Andy Katz here at the Big Ten Network in Chicago. Pleased to be joined by Bret Bielema, the new head coach at the University of Illinois on the football side. And Bret, you've been in this league many times before. Wisconsin, former head coach there, now at Illinois. How hard is it to make that transition? I know you didn't go right away, but still from one Big Ten school to another.
Yeah, Andy, I actually cut my teeth, as a player in the league too. I was at the University of Iowa as a player. I worked there for Hayden Fry and Kirk Ferentz. So I've been in three of these Big Ten West teams. Each school is a little different, but, I think the thing that attracted me here more than anything is to get back into the Big Ten, especially the Big Ten West, something I'm very comfortable with and excited for this opportunity that's in front of us.
What is first on your agenda? And I know this is an unprecedented year. We're dealing with a pandemic, so you can't sort of do exactly what you would want. But what do you hope to achieve here as we're dealing with hopefully turning the corner on the pandemic sooner than later?
Yeah, it's been really since day one. The first thing I had to do is obviously recruit my own team in this world that we're in because of the COVID rules, transfer rules, all the things that are kind of relevant now in today's world. Had to make sure I got as many of my guys to stay that were going to help us win a football game in the fall. That involved obviously super seniors, guys that were allowed one more year because of the COVID. The high school recruiting class we just finished. And of course I had to hire an entire staff, not only 10 assistant coaches, but a lot of off the field, and then really get the team that I have here currently involved in our winter conditioning that we're going through now. We got about an 8-week window here that we get ready for spring ball, and then we'll be off and running here at the end of March.
So, Bret, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there an Iowa tattoo?
It was a great idea when I was 19. Believe me, it was a really, really good idea on a Saturday afternoon with 5 of my college roommates.
Where is it?
It's on my left calf. It's nothing obscene or that I can't wear in public, but I'll probably wear a lot of high socks when I'm at Illini events for the first start. But yeah, it was something. Again, I tell our kids, when you're a college football coach, you got 100 plus young men in a room. They come from all over the country. They come from different homes, different environments, different religions, different backgrounds, and you got to make them all one. And, I always tell them, hey, I've never met a successful man who wasn't proud of where he came from. I'm very proud of my past. I grew up in the state of Illinois. I went to the University of Iowa. I went to Kansas State University. I went to the University of Wisconsin. I worked at the University of Arkansas. I spent 3 years in the NFL. And I'm proud of that past, but I'm very, very excited about the future we're building here.
So I know you're new to Illinois, but when I watch Brad Underwood, I feel like he could be pacing a college football sideline. How hard do you think it would be for Brad to transition to that role?
I don't think it'd be hard at all. I really enjoyed Josh Whitman, our AD, crossed our paths early on, right when I was getting ready to take the job. And he and I've been very, very interactive since I've been here. Share a lot of the same, I'm sure, as demeanors, attitudes, kind of outlook on life. We both kind of enjoy life as it is and let it come at you. But he's very intense. I really have enjoyed getting to know him, and more importantly, getting to watch him work his bench. And I do like the looks of some of those basketball players. Look like they might be able to help me out on the football field as well.
Yeah. So I asked this question of Mel Tucker. We've seen this before. Basketball players who have played football players who have chosen to play basketball. What kind of characteristics do you think a basketball player, and maybe what position do you think could transition to playing on the football field?
I think there's a lot of those maybe 6'3" to 6'5" guys that dream of these great NFL or these great NBA careers that maybe quite aren't good enough to get it there, that could be pretty good tight ends and linebackers and long athletes on the football field. I think there is a lot of carryover, instincts, ball, reaction. Obviously, it's a different sport in the physicality and the contact of it, but I do think there's quite a few basketball players that can work their way into the football field. I don't know how many football players can work their way out. A lot of them think they can, but I doubt very many can make that same transition on our end.
All right, LeBron could have played at Ohio State probably. If you were coaching him on the football field, where would you put him?
Probably be a tight end, I would bet. I think it'd be a pretty mean tight end. I know Coach Alvarez actually always used to tell the story that one of his younger coaches was back in the day was coaching in Ohio and was talking about this 8th grade football/basketball star that could be pretty special, and that young man ended up being LeBron James. So I know there's some people that had their eyes on him early on.
So as you know, I went to Wisconsin, and I was there during the latter time of the Don Morton era. And then Barry Alvarez took over my senior year. And obviously he has had a Hall of Fame career since, hired you at Wisconsin. Just overall the football in this conference, and the coaches that have come through here over the last 20 years. How do you put in perspective, and you're one of them, just the level of coaching that is in this league?
Just tremendous amount of respect. I remember taking over my first year as a head coach at the University of Wisconsin. I think we went 12-1, and every year I'd meet a coach at that midfield before the game. And I was a lot younger at the time, 36 years old, I guess I was. And I remember standing at midfield talking to Joe Pa, talked to Jim Tressel, Lloyd Carr at that time. I think I might have had a year or two with Coach Tiller. Like, it was just kind of a different world back then, and now I am a 51-year-old guy that's won 3 Big Ten championships and can't wait to get back into it. But, from in our division, I have tremendous respect for Pat and what he's done at Northwestern. Coach Ferentz, I worked for him. I mean, holy cow, here's a guy that I started off as a young coach that I'm still now competing on the same level and in the same conference. So it's just kind of Paul Chris at Wisconsin was my offensive coordinator when I was there. Tremendous respect. He's hired several former coaches of mine or players that are in his building now. So the sport is great. The game of football is healthy. I know a lot of people want to talk about what's going wrong. I think we do a lot of things right, and hopefully we can continue to build that brand here in the Big Ten.
So one of the biggest questions always is, how do you attack Chicago? How do you draw in Chicago? It's a question for the basketball team always, and of course for the football team. What's your approach to making that connection with Chicago?
Well, I think we got to know that it's an in-state area. Obviously, Chicago, downstate, mid, central, western Illinois, eastern Illinois, southern Illinois. We've got 3 guys basically that are going to touch the Chicago area. I have 2 coaches that are from that area that played high school football in that area that are our main recruiters in that region. So we'll treat it like it's our own. We'll go in there and recruit it as hard as anybody. Just by pure numbers, the state of Illinois will put out more players than you can actually sign to Division I Power 5 football. But the ones that we want and the ones that we feel that can help us win a Big Ten championship here at the University of Illinois, we got to swing at. We got to try to land them. And then, of course, we'll love them up. I'm going to set up a recruiting philosophy that's very similar to the NFL. In the NFL, you have basically pro personnel and college personnel. But because of the transfer world now in college, we'll have basically a high school director of personnel, but we'll also have a college personnel director that will not only, manage and track the athletes that we have, but also athletes that we recruit. Maybe we don't land them and they go away to other schools, so that if they ever do become a transfer option, we can bring them right in and have a full evaluation. So times are changing in college football. I think you got to adapt and move forward, but it's one that I'm excited to be a part of.
All right, so what do you remember about that 07 Illinois-Wisconsin game?
07, so that was my second year. That was a tight one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That was maybe I lost one of our better players. If I not remember, that might have been the game Luke Swan got beat.
Illinois beat Wisconsin that year.
Yeah, it was. I think one of those games that it was a close game. I didn't lose many to Illinois, and now we hope to flip that trend back the other way. But always a tough environment. A lot of obviously guys that recruited, are from the same high schools or rival high schools. Anytime you got involved with that game, just like there is in every Big Ten West game, so it was one for the ages.
All right, so last 2 things here, Brett. We hope, fingers crossed, there are going to be fans in the stands in the fall. What kind of product do you hope those fans see in Champaign?
I think we got to represent the state of Illinois. I think we got to represent the people that are hardworking people that put a lot of work into their daily lives, that want great results for their families. And I think for us as a football team, we're going to put in a lot of great work, do everything we can to make our productive work week be great on Saturdays and give people something to be proud of when they see the Illini compete and play in the Big Ten, but also in non-conference play. So hopefully make the state proud of what we represent.
And how you manage spring football?
I'm excited. We're going to jump into a 5-week spring football season. We'll practice 3 days a week, meet 3 days a week. Obviously, the NCAA makes you have 1 day off, but really just kind of try to lay a foundation on the front end. We'll progress. We'll do things a little bit different. Some of the things I picked up in my time in the NFL as well as during college, where we'll make sure it's safe, it's productive, and an teaching environment that try to take advantage of basically every practice we can to get ourselves ready for a great fall season.
Well, I'll tell you, last thing I'll just tell you, Kofi Coburn, when he's done playing, you may want him as a tight end.
I think tight end, the defensive end, he can play running back for all I care. That guy is a good looking athlete who obviously loves to compete, and I think Coach Underwood's getting the most out of him.
Well, Bret, we appreciate it. Congratulations on being back in the Big Ten, the head coach of the University of Illinois.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. ILL.